Be laughing a lot today.
Yes. What else can we do but
Laugh it out, my friend.
Yep.
Agent. And then like if you're like in like a team, you'll put like H. If you're the Haitian team, you're gonna put H.
Hello?
Hi.
Hello?
Hello,
Okay,
we're
I just
here.
want to make sure I'm in Haisha office. I'm in the right place,
You're
which
in
I
the right
know.
place, Kathy.
Figured. All right. Cool.
Bam, bam, bam. Thank you, ma'am. How's everyone's weekend?
Okay.
Busy. Busy on the dialing.
Hello, 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 everybody.
Marty.
Hello, Marty.
How are you guys
Hi,
doing?
Martin.
How you guys doing?
Great.
Good.
All right, awesome, awesome, awesome. Part two today, we're gonna kind of continue and go through like presenting the plan and closing. So I'm gonna kind of show you guys how I present the plan once I kind of click on the freedom of choice. Just kind of pay attention to the verbiage, take notes. And then I'll probably like call on somebody to give me a couple of rebuttals, and then I'll kind of go through a few rebuttals and have you guys jot those down. This will kind of give you guys some insight on what's really good to say and how to flip, no's to yeses. And just kind of give you guys an idea of how to properly do things, whether it's down closing, the proper way to really solidify a deal if a client agrees before moving to EAP. So, sound good?
Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep.
All right, awesome. So let me get
Marty's our celebrity.
my said that. Who said that? Was that Mallory?
Mail.
Oh, Mel. Okay. All right. So I know that I was role playing with Shaker when we did it on Friday. Do you guys wanna any suggestions? You guys want to have it as a single person, a husband and a wife? Or just kind of continue that scenario that we played out last week on Friday?
What about husband and wife?
Okay. Husband and wife, we'll make them non-seniors. That way
Yes.
we kind of show some riders into the plan. Maybe like a house payment rider. So. How was everybody's weekend, by the way? Everybody have a good weekend?
Yeah.
All
Pretty
right.
good.
Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so let me see here. We're just gonna kind of play a quick scenario out. We're gonna do husband and wife, Shaker and Samantha Dotson.
Okay.
So, medications or no? Shaker,
Yes, we both take medications.
both of you guys. All right. Major health issues?
Just her,
Just her. What's her major health issue?
thyroid.
Thyroid. Okay, no problem. And then tobacco or non-tobacco users?
I smoke cigars.
Smokes cigars, and then
She
Samantha
doesn't.
doesn't. Okay. Samantha, you got a husband that just
I thought
answered.
it sounded like he's answering all my questions for me.
He's busting up on you over there. Any arrest shaker for your Samantha? Samantha looks like
None.
no.
Nope.
Okay.
No,
Any major health issues that run in the family?
Heart condition on my side, parents, high blood pressure for her.
Okay.
that's actually extremely true. And also cancers run in my family.
Okay. So let me see here. Shaker is SHEKHAR. You said heart issues for you, and then Samantha, it was cancer. All right, and then as far as the medications that you guys are taking, Shaker, what meds are you on?
None.
Oh, I thought you said you were taking medication, so no medication.
Okay, yes. Well, she is. I'm not, right?
Okay, so
Sure.
so Samantha, if you have thyroid issues, you're probably taking levothyroxine, right?
Yeah.
Any other medications you're taking?
I take Focalin for ADHD.
What is it? Focalin?
Mm-hmm.
How do we spell that? VOCOLINE, maybe?
Something like that. I don't know.
Okay. Frequency and dosage?
Once a day, and it's 30 milligrams.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. Got that part. Let's see. Shaker, you guys are both gonna be Smiths. You guys are the Smiths. And then Shaker, you're gonna be a non-senior. We'll just go with 10/7/1981, makes you 42. Shaker, what's your occupation?
Retired.
Retired?
Let's call it sales.
Sales, perfect. All right. And then you guys are gonna be some Michigan natives, and then Samantha. Occupation or birthday, Samantha. Yeah.
March 26th. Let's do 95. Let's just do my real birthday.
How did I know you were an Aries?
Man, Shaker,
Thank
you are
you.
robbing the cradle, Shaker. Jesus. 14 years old.
I was his daughter's friend. It was a very taboo relationship.
Wow.
And you guys hit it off because you guys are both in sales. There we
Look at
go.
poor Shaker over there.
Good. I'm glad we're having fun.
Children.
Gotta.
Children or no children?
No,
No children. All right.
no.
Answer that one, Shaker. She said no. And then any kind of life insurance through work or outside of work?
I don't have any through work. Outside, I have term life.
Term life? What's the payout?
200,000.
200K, okay. And then as far as Samantha, anything through work or outside of work?
Nope.
No, all right, awesome. You guys are making this a little bit easy on me. Because Shaker, I'm gonna give you shit for not having life insurance for your wife. So, all right. And then do you guys own or rent your home?
We
I don't
own.
know, honey. Do we own or rent our home?
We own. I think last time I said 800,000 balance and $2,500 a month payment. So let's go with that.
Okay, AK balance, got it. All right, and then Shaker, do you guys have home insurance to pay off your home in case of death?
Nope.
No, okay. And then no children for either of you guys below the age of 18, we said, so it's not available. And then you guys are married, and then you guys do bank locally for checking or savings.
Mhm.
All right, and then since you guys are both in sales, what is your guys' monthly income?
I don't pay too close attention to the numbers. I'll let him answer.
I think last time I said 15.
Yep, 15 a
Yeah,
month
you did.
for you. And then what about Samantha, since she's.
That's total. That's total.
That's total for both of you guys, got it,
Yeah.
okay, got it,
So Marty, quick question.
sure.
At that point, wouldn't you want to break it down between the husband and the wife so that you know if income rider or like, would be ideal?
Yeah, I would. I would probably definitely ask that. I feel like I'm gonna give them a house payment rider. But what is it? Let's go ahead and just do it properly. What's the split on that?
Let's do 50-50.
All right. So you're not a sugar daddy.
Yes.
Same amount of money is all right. 7,500 apiece. All right, so now you guys are gonna get a little bit more insight again on how quickly I'm gonna build this plan. Just kind of watch how I do it, and then we're just gonna kind of get into presenting the plan after, so. Yeah. Alright, so we'll do triple family, and then give them both ADV. And then again. Yeah, that should be right. Now, I want you guys to pay attention since I did input 2,500 for the monthly payment. This thing automatically calculates this, so 2,500 a month comes out to 30K for the year. So now this is what you guys are currently getting. Right there. So that's my plan right there. I'm going triple family. I'm giving them both 50K in whole life. I'm giving them both additional 50K in ADB, and I'm giving them 2 years of house payment rider. So I'm good with that. I'm gonna go ahead and present this plan. Brian, can you fill it up with some, please? Thank you.
So how do you decide to give the house payment rider to Shaker if they make the same?
So kind of what I went over on Friday, typically and generally the husband passes away first or he goes before the wife. And in this situation, it's more unlikely because there's a 13-year age gap. So if I give the house payment rider to Shaker, when he passes away, that house payment is going to be paid for Samantha. I
Right.
can.
I'm not over here like plotting his death or anything.
Mhm, mhm. Shaker's house, right? When you guys met, it was his house.
We bought it together,
Wait, you guys bought it together. Wow. All right.
but I like living by myself, so.
Sounds like true love, if you ask me. No, no sugar daddy status. She's going 50-50 with you, Shaker. You got a real one right there, man.
You gotta treat everyone with respect, right?
That's right, buddy. That's right. So this plan right here pretty much maxes them out. They're making a decent amount of money. One thing that I would probably change, and I'm actually going to, I am going to change this to 100K to show more value, to get them closer to maxing them out. Now it's at 286. So this is exactly what I would pitch them. I feel comfortable pitching it. I'm gonna get ready. Now, once I get to this point right here, and I start presenting the plan, don't worry too much about anything that happened prior to this point. If you had a great sit, if you didn't have a great sit, if you had a terrible sit, it's game on once you get to this point. Once you start presenting the freedom of choice. For me, what I like to do is I like to psych myself up. I get excited. My tone goes up, my energy goes up, and I'm excited when I'm pitching the plan. I want them to feel that excitement because everything that I'm showing them is like the greatest thing in the world. I'm pitching this beautiful plan to them. They're getting all these benefits. I'm going to emphasize a lot on our concept, which realistically, we sell based on concept. Our concept is the freedom of choice, it's the hospital benefits, and it's the 4.5% cash value. So that's our main selling points, is the concept. So let me just pull up one quick thing here, guys. Okay. Scripts, okay. Any questions so far? Or are you guys ready for this plan to get pitched right here?
Well, Martin, so you would present the freedom of choice before the plan, correct?
Absolutely, yep. Yeah,
'Cause,
just follow the script, and it kind of gives it in that order, you know? So,
okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure that I learned that clearly, so.
absolutely. So now I'm speaking to both of them. So, I just got done going over the 3 ways. I got the freedom of choice pulled up. I'm resharing my screen now. Now, Shaker and Samantha, that's exactly why the VSO set up the freedom of choice certificate. If when you visit your state VSO, they'll probably have it displayed on the poster board. Now, it's the only thing your family is going to be responsible for, guys. They could take it to any funeral home or crematorium across the country. And from that point on, everything will be taken care of. That means your family or either one of you guys would just never have to bring a checkbook or put on a credit card. They bring this certificate and it's accepted just like cash. Now, the funeral director calls the 1-800 number. We verify the benefit is active. We never reveal the benefit amount. While the funeral director gets their share, every penny over that comes back to your family where it belongs. Now, Shaker and Samantha, doesn't it give you guys peace of mind knowing that on one of the worst days of your family's lives, they have a few less things to worry about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Now, vice versa over here, if one of you guys were to pass away first, the other would be able to kind of take the certificate on the other's behalf. So God forbid if you guys pass away at the same time, any one of your family members can take it on your behalf. And if either one of you guys passed away first, you guys would be able to take it on the spouse's behalf. Make sense? All right, awesome.
Yep.
Now, based on the information you guys gave me earlier, the VSOs are recommending protecting the following. Now, what they have allocated for you guys is going to be $50,000 for any cause of death. That's going to be natural, illness, or accident. You guys can use this anywhere, even if you moved out of state. Never expires no matter how old you guys get. And when the funeral costs are less than the certificate amount, anything left over goes right back to your family as soon as 24 to 48 hours. Now, this is a whole life policy and it does build cash value at 4.5%, which we'll touch on here in a moment. Now, aside from that, God forbid, if you guys were to pass away in any kind of an accident, they would send the family an additional $260,000. That's $130,000 for each of you. And quick question for the both of you guys, Shaker, Samantha, what would you guys say the most common type of accidental death is here in the United States?
It's a car accident.
Exactly. Yep. God forbid, if that was the case, they would send the family an additional $320,000. That's $160,000 for each of you. And Shaker and Samantha, if the accidental death occurred on like a common carrier, such as an airplane, train, boat, bus, ferry, pretty much anything that you guys would pay to be a passenger on, at that point, they would send the family an additional $500,000, $250,000 for each of you on top of the freedom of choice. Now, Shaker, Samantha, I'm sure you guys appreciate the fact when your family has that freedom of choice, God forbid, to use when something happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's the main benefit that every veteran is trying to get because they love the immediate payout. Now, Shaker, Samantha, unlike your typical civilian life insurance policy, this policy actually has living benefits for the both of you guys as well.
Okay.
So they really weren't concerned about medical bills because veterans and civilians generally have good health insurance, or they can typically go to the VA. They're simply concerned about lost income and other expenses that add up if either one of you guys were to get hurt and end up in the hospital. So
Yeah, honey, that'll be great the next time you fall down the stairs. I mean, last time you
Oh,
As long as you don't push him, Samantha.
I plead the fifth on that one. He can't remember.
There won't be any witnesses.
There weren't any witnesses.
You better get those cameras up in the house then, Shaker.
No, don't worry. I made sure that none of them face the staircase.
You need a hidden one, man. Now, number one, guys, if either one of you guys were to get hurt and it's minor, so for example, Samantha, let's say you're in the kitchen cooking and you accidentally slice your finger, they would cut
It
your
happens.
Does that happen a lot?
Actually, the only surgery I've ever had was on my finger because of a cooking accident.
Wow.
So yeah.
There you go.
Being accident.
See, I'm a genie. I see things, future and past, and I knew that happened to you. So that's why I said that.
Very relatable. Thank you, Martin.
You're welcome. But no, yeah, just for driving to the emergency room, guys, they would cut you guys a check for $150. Now, Shaker, Samantha, let's say it's a little bit more serious and you guys end up getting admitted into the hospital. At that point, they would send you guys $300 every single day, and they'll do that for up to a full year per person per injury. So that adds up to $2,100 a week. And you guys can use this multiple times throughout the year for various injuries. Now, worst case scenario, guys, is you end up in the ICU. They would double that amount to $600 a day for a full 2 weeks, since being in the intensive care is life and death. Now, if you guys are in the ICU for more than 14 days, on day 15, it would drop back down to the daily hospital benefit of $300. That way you guys are still getting paid for every day of being in there. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right, you guys still with me? Understood everything up until this point?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. Now, they also have a house payment rider tied into this for you guys. So, Shaker, let's say, God forbid, you were to pass away. Samantha, we're going to make that $2,500 payment to your mortgage company for 2 straight years. You
Oh,
can
wow.
also have it made out to you if you like. We can make it out to you or the mortgage company. So that goes for 2 straight years. Okay. They
Awesome.
also have, I'm sorry, any questions about?
That's awesome, yeah.
Yeah, good. All right, now they also do have a terminal illness rider built into this plan for you guys. And what that is, let's say, God forbid, guys, you just got some devastating news from a licensed medical professional that you guys only have 12 months or less to live. They're gonna immediately issue you guys out a check for $25,000 each, plus $30,000 of that 1 year of house payment protection. That's gonna go out to you guys, God forbid, if you guys ever got some news like that. I like to call it bucket list money, guys. If there's anything you haven't done in life, whatever's at the top of that bucket list, go ahead and have fun and take care of that. What do you guys say?
Yeah.
Sounds great.
No, that's
Thank you.
great.
Yeah.
Right. Now, these benefits will cover you, Shaker and Samantha, for the rest of your life, starting today and anywhere in the world. These benefits never run out, no matter how many times you guys use them. And what's nice about these benefits is they're built for veterans, and all the protections are built in. Now, as I told you guys earlier, this does build cash value at 4.5%. That's the guaranteed coverage, which is more than my bank and your bank gives us, right? They
Oh, yeah.
only give us around 0.1 to 0.3, guys, which is peanuts. Now, this isn't gonna make you guys rich. Shaker, you're not gonna run off to Malibu and build Samantha a mansion. But it's nice to know you guys are building towards something. Which is exactly why I say it's better to have this and not need it than to need it and not have it. So I'm gonna pause right there real quick, guys. I know not a lot of you guys know about cash value. Some of you guys do. We do have a calculator that we use, that'll let you guys know how much cash value they're actually building. And I actually bring
Lindsay
that
explains it really
calculator.
well.
What's that?
Lindsay explains it really well.
I gave out some cash value calculators and explained to some of the agents how to use them on the younger clients. If anybody needs a copy of a cash value, you can drop your email in the
Yeah, absolutely. Cash value is very, very good to explain. I'm gonna kind of show you guys an example of it right here.
No, it sounds for.
And then Samantha, you were born in 95, so you're what, 29 right now? Okay. So when I'm explaining the cash value, I actually bring this calculator into view. This is a calculator that we use. I'll kind of show it to you guys first. So this right here really helps you because you show them the examples of how much cash value they're actually going to build. So this is for non-seniors that are below the age of 60, and this is for seniors right here. You just type their age in and then how much whole life you're giving them, since whole life is the only one that builds cash value. Now, after I'm done explaining the cash value part, I'll kind of minimize this because I don't want them to see what the monthly is and weekly and all that. So I kind of minimize this like this. I just kind of bring this up all the way up to here. So for example, when I get done reading my cash value thing, which is exactly why I say it's better to have this and not need it than to need it and not have it. So for example, Shaker and Samantha, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this calculator into view. So not only are you guys obtaining a whole life policy here, you guys also have the living benefits to go with it and the cash value. So for example, guys, Shaker, you're at the age of 42 now and Samantha 29. So 10 years from now, you guys are gonna have over $9,000 in cash value accumulated. 20 years from now, you guys are gonna have almost 25,000 in cash value accumulated. And at the age of 65, guys, the retirement age of 65, you guys are gonna have over $40,000 in cash value. Now that's money that you guys will have access to, that you guys can use and pull out for whatever it is you want, whenever you want. Does that make sense, guys?
Mhm.
All right, awesome. Now, Shaker and Samantha, there are a couple of other medical questions that I do have to ask you guys, just to make sure I can even get you guys qualified for this program. But probably the most important question they have me ask is, God forbid, if something did happen to the both of you guys, like a bad car wreck, there is going to be a total of $420,000 plus that 2,500 for 2 years every month. Who do you guys want that money to go to? And we can list multiple beneficiaries if you guys want.
The kids?
Your
Okay.
kids, not mine.
Okay, my kids.
All right.
Yes.
So
All of my 8 kids, so.
8 kids. Yeah, honey, all of our 8 kids.
that's probably why Samantha married you. Now we know the reason.
You got a soccer team.
Because he
Yeah.
could never expect me to add to that. Right.
So I just put, we're gonna split it between 8 children, guys, but if everything looks good to you guys and we get you enrolled today, I'll get all 8 of their names because we do have to put on the application. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Awesome. Now you guys are probably wondering how much is all this gonna cost you guys, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So right before we get into the numbers, guys, we do have that freedom of choice certificate, which is gonna pay for your guys' funeral, A to Z. We have the guaranteed coverage at 50K each, the accidentals that pay out on top. We have the hospital benefits. I'm just gonna touch on those for a brief moment, guys, just so you guys know exactly how they work and what they cover. Let's just say, for example, one of you guys just spent 7 days in the hospital. Now we owe you guys $2,100. So the way it works is once you get discharged from the hospital, they're gonna issue you guys out discharge paperwork. We would need you guys to either email, mail, or fax that paperwork to us within 72 hours of being discharged. We're gonna immediately verify the hospital stay and send out a check thereafter. So pretty much 7 to 10 business days removed from the hospital, you guys are paid for those benefits. Does that make sense?
Now, is it any kind of accident that we end up in the hospital for?
If it's accidental, yes. Give me
So
an
if it's any,
example.
so anything from as minor as, a kitchen accident to severe car wreck.
Absolutely. If it's
All right.
accidental, that's the only way it does pay out, is if it's an accident. Yep. And then we have that house payment rider, for 2 years, going out to the mortgage company or straight to Samantha, God forbid if Shaker were to pass away first. That makes sense, guys?
Mhm.
All right, awesome. Okay, so they do have everything allocated for you guys. Okay, so it looks like they came back with 2 options. Now, the option that we just went over in detail is what the veteran organizations are recommending. And they have that for you guys at $4.79 each per day. Now, in addition to the recommended option, they also came back with an enhanced option. Now, something I would recommend Shaker and Samantha due to a couple of different reasons. First reason being, it is really hard to qualify for. Second reason being, it's really expensive. They have that for you guys at $722 a month. I'm sure that's something that you guys don't even want to entertain, right?
No, and it looks like they took off that house rider.
Exactly. It doesn't come with a house rider either. So what I like to do, guys, is I like to lock all my members in at the recommended rate because you guys always do have that option to upgrade in the future. So with that being said, the recommended rate has you guys setting aside roughly $4.79 each per day, bringing the total to $286.98 for each of you guys. I'm kidding. It's $286 for the both of you. Samantha, don't shoot me. Now it doesn't matter to the veteran organizations which program you guys try to qualify for, but let me know which option makes the most sense for you guys, the recommended or the enhanced.
Well, obviously that recommended makes more sense to me just because, you decided to move into this gigantic house. So like, what am I gonna do?
Shaker?
The things we do for love, whatever you decide.
Oh, putting it all in her hand. So is that a yes? Is this something you guys?
He's learned a few things over the years.
Happy wife, happy life, right, Shaker?
Yes, sir. Whatever she says.
Yeah.
All right. So
So is
just
this
for-
something that you guys like and want to move forward with, or do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, so I have a few questions.
Sure.
So the amount seems seems kind of high, and I don't really know if we need each of those components. So that's just my initial thought.
So Shaker, I really want you to know, like what I tell a lot of my members is, yeah, you're making that $286 payment. But you have that 4.5% cash value that brings you some cash back. Don't forget. So not only is it a life policy, it's also an investment policy. You're investing your money and it's growing at 4.5%. Now, keep in mind as well, Shaker, God forbid, if one of you guys spend a day in the hospital, that pretty much pays for this policy for a month. A week in the hospital pays for the policy for 7 months. So so there's multiple avenues and where you guys can make money off of this policy and get money back, along with being covered for 50K each of guaranteed. And don't
And I
forget
mean,
that
since we split everything 50-50, I mean, you're only paying 140, almost $145 yourself.
Yep, don't forget, you guys are each making 7,500 a piece per month.
So can we look at options that are a little less expensive, maybe? What would that look like?
Yeah, absolutely, we could. Before we do that, Shaker and Samantha, I do want to make sure that you guys did understand everything that we went over. Yes, both of you guys
Mhm.
understood everything in detail, okay? And then you guys do see the need for it, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right.
Now, we could definitely look at some other options, Shaker. I do want you to keep in mind one thing. Um, you know, these things, they do get expensive as time goes on. Every year that goes by, it is gonna get more expensive. So we try to lock you guys in at your youngest and healthiest age. We could all be a doctor visit or a prescription away from being uninsurable. So right now you guys are at an age where you guys are younger, and this is not as expensive for you guys. And then another thing, I still got to make sure that you guys, do qualify. There's, some other questions that I do have to ask you guys. So that 286, is that affordable month in, a month out? Through you guys?
Yeah, it is affordable.
It is.
Samantha? Okay. So can we go ahead and lock you guys in at the 286, or do you still want to see some other options, Shaker?
And I'm doing this just for educational purposes right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, why don't we look at a cheaper option so that we can kind of compare and decide which way we want to go?
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. That's definitely no problem at all. I can give you another option. It just takes a quick moment. I just send a quick email to the veteran organizations, and they kind of come back with something relatively quickly. So we're gonna pause right there, and I'll kind of show you guys going to plan generator and what I would do in this situation. But I'm gonna make obviously the recommended still a little bit more lucrative, so I'm gonna eliminate the enhanced. I'm gonna come here and kind of give them a starter option, so to say. Now, I'm still gonna go with triple family. Actually, I may go with double family to kind of bring the cost down a little bit. And then I'm still gonna go with, I'm gonna go with 50K ADB for each of them instead of 100. And then I'll probably end up giving them like 45K in guaranteed whole life. And that brings it down to 199. No, I don't want to down close that much, so I would probably keep that at 100K. Oh, and actually I forgot about the house writer, matter of fact. So house writer, I'm gonna reduce that and just make it 1 year. And then I'm probably gonna keep the ADB at 100K. So 235, $50 cheaper. I still don't want to down close that much because the reason I don't want to is because I know that they like the recommended that I pitched them. and Shaker, you know, kind of agreed at the end.
But
then,
I would do,
you know,
because like from a spouse's perspective, I would take off that house payment rider, be like, so it looks like you do lose that house payment rider, and as the wife who really liked that aspect, I'd be like, wait a second, no, I really like that, put it back.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a year off. I still want to give them the option because, well, if I do take it off, it's costing $27 a month. I would have to make that up because 208 is too cheap. I mean, I could come here and give you guys 47,500
Mhm.
a
But couldn't you,
piece.
like, when you represent the plan, be like, yeah, it brought down your price, but Samantha, it looks like, they took off that house rider that you liked a lot.
Yeah, I could, but then they
You
can
also run the
ask-
risk of them closing way too
Yeah,
low.
yeah. I'm gonna keep the house payment rider. I would just bring it down to a year because I don't want to eliminate that. I want to
Mhm.
still give them like all the options because it's not. Even if you guys, because I'm gonna keep it like this, I'm gonna go with the 47.5. So the only thing that's being lost is 2,500 a piece right here,
Mhm.
and a whole year. Now, for people like Shaker and Samantha, it's only costing them an additional $37, to have the recommended. It makes the most sense for them to keep the recommended instead of saving that $37, losing 2,500 a piece and a whole year of that house payment being made. So, and I don't want to down close too much. Why? Because they're kind of on board already with the 286. So I don't want to go any lower than 250. Like that's perfect 249 right there. Because even if I lose them at the 286, 249 is still going to be good. $37 difference. It's not too much ALP that I'm losing. So I'm pretty confident with this. But the people like Shaker and Samantha that are doing really good in life and they have a good relationship, and you know, Samantha saying, hey, we're going to be splitting it. Now the split becomes from 143 a piece to 125 a piece. So to each of them, it becomes a $18 difference roughly. So to me, it'd be a no-brainer. They're probably still gonna go with this. If they don't and they want to go with this, I'll probably harp on losing that house payment, you know,
Mhm.
rider. And if you guys paid close attention when I was presenting the plan, Samantha was like really engaged and she liked everything and she was all about it, right? So take a mental note on that. Because in my down close now, when I come back, I'm gonna gear a majority of my attention towards Samantha. Since Shaker was somewhat hesitant, he has some questions. Samantha was more excited. So always try to gear your questions towards the person that's more engaged, the person that wants it more. Whether it's in a down close or prior to a down close, that's very important. So now, I'm back with them. All right, Shaker and Samantha. Looks like they came back with a starter option for you guys. A little bit less expensive. They have it for you guys at $249 a month. Let me just make sure the freedom. Okay, so the freedom of choice is still there, so you guys are still getting that with it. Looks like they took down the coverage of the guaranteed coverage from 50K to 47,500 a piece. The accidentals are still intact. The hospital benefits are still intact. But Samantha, you did lose that second year of those payments being made to the house, so you only get 1 year now. And they have that for you
I
guys.
have to find another sugar daddy in a year
You sure are. You don't have much time.
with our 8 kids.
Mhm. So that makes it $249 a month. Again, that's roughly 125 a piece versus the 143 with the recommended. Now again, guys, it really doesn't matter to the veteran organizations which program you guys want to qualify for. But at this point, which option makes the most sense for you guys, the recommender or the starter?
What do you think, Samantha?
Obviously, I want to go with a recommended. I need 2 years to find someone else.
To find another. Yeah, okay.
Now,
Yeah, what
Samantha, just
is
so you
that?
know, we could look at options for 3 years and 4 years and 5 years, just so you know. Absolutely. That's the upgrade part if you don't want to do it now.
Well, we'll see where we're at in a year. Maybe we'll need to add coverage then.
Fair enough. Just don't kill Shaker, okay?
No promises.
Okay.
Come on.
It's fine. I'll make it look like an accident.
So I'm gonna pause right here real quick, guys. So at this point, when you present the plan and you're letting them know, hey, which option makes the most sense, recommended or enhanced, at that point, just stop talking. You know, you guys don't want to overly talk and talk yourselves out of the plan or out of the sale. So I just stopped talking. I pitched them the plan. If they have questions, I'm going to answer them, but I'm going to go back to being quiet. You don't want to talk too much. You talk too much, you will talk yourself out of it, or they're just going to think that you're just trying to convince them to make the sale, you know? So back to being quiet, and I'm just waiting on them.
I really think we should go with the first one. It's not that much more expensive. It gives us a lot more coverage.
So if you guys want to go with the recommended, now I just want to make sure, guys, is that 286.98, is that affordable month in and month out?
Absolutely.
Okay. It wouldn't be taking food off the table or anything like that, right?
No.
Okay. And I wouldn't want you guys to cancel in the future. If you guys really truly want this, you know, this is a lifetime thing, so we want you guys protected for life, okay? Shaker?
Yep.
All right. So we're gonna lock you guys in at the recommended. Now, one thing I need you guys to do, we're gonna get the application process started. If you guys could just grab your medications, we're just gonna make sure that they're all okay. And that's pretty much it right there, guys. So, I'm gonna have you guys play some different scenarios in a moment. Affordability, I'm gonna have you guys harp on that. We really can't afford it. You know, we really can't afford it. Instead of, you know, showing real interest in it and then making me down close. So we're gonna play that scenario out where it's really not affordable to you guys. We're gonna play some, you know, I want to think about it, or just kind of hear from you guys and give me some feedback on what you guys have been getting and how I would handle it, you know. But first, prior to that, I just want to take maybe a few questions from you guys. Questions, concerns, takeaways, why I did certain things, why I said certain things. Just raise your hand and I'll kind of call on you guys from there. Unless there's no questions.
I have my actual hand raised. So I'm just trying to think, the question is something that's more of a takeaway. So when they say, you know, that they, you know, not to down close too much, because, you know, the wife wanted the house writer, and if you know, you want to stick with what they're interested in and not try to down close, and not to talk too much, just let them talk about it. And then would you mute maybe while they're talking, and maybe the agent could mute there while they're discussing it? So I know you talked about last time that sometimes this helps to kind of mute and let them talk, and you can overhear what they're saying, and then it's like, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would mute if I got hit with a certain rebuttal, like you know, oh you know, we have to think about this, you know. At
Right.
that point, you know, I'll come in and, you know, I'll be like, all right, well, you know, hey, I've been talking your guys' ear off for a while now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys a moment to think about it. I'm gonna run and grab a glass of water and I'll be back with you guys in a moment. I'll just kind of move out of the frame, I'll mute myself, and I'll just kind of eavesdrop and just listen to what they're saying and prepare
Right.
myself on how to handle it. So yeah, I would in certain situations. Samantha and Shaker, they were really cool. They were funny. They were just kind of open. So, and they were just making that decision, you know, right then and there. And they only did that because they're pretty, you know, wealthy. They're making a decent amount of money. They pretty much kind of had their answer. The people that say I want to think about it, they're more kind of financially struggling and whatnot, and might want to speak about it in private. So at that point, that's when I would kind of mute myself if they said they want to think about it and give them time. So, Shaker?
Yeah, so a couple of questions and maybe takeaway. One was I have not been using cash value and terminal illness rider in my presentation, and I'm going to incorporate that. So the value of that is, I'm guessing, it's just adding value and showing knowledge and proficiency and just the overall value of the product and what they're getting. So that's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to add that. The second thing is, there are two things that you said for me, if you could just repeat them. One was that and I remember you said it last time, is with age, it's only going to get more expensive and you may not, or you may be one medication away from not being able to qualify. So that was that was a good one. And then the other one was, this is something that you do not want to cancel. This is a lifetime thing. And the presentation kind of flows on its own. It's the rebuttals that what in my mind this is about is just being calm and straightforward and being prepared for them. So the more rebuttals we have that we are prepared for, the easier this becomes. So
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I am working on those on that rebuttal sheet for all of you guys. Just to kind of have something in front of you guys, like maybe 5 to 7 rebuttals for each category, whether it's I can't afford this, I want to think about it, I still want to think about it, we just don't make decisions right now. The rebuttal for that. Yeah, I want to read everything, and then I'll sign, or yeah, send it to me. We'll give you a call back. So I'm gonna have like detailed rebuttals on all. Like I told you guys on Friday, I'm close to having it done. I just gotta have, the MGA, Justin and Mark, the RGA approve it. Once they approve it, then I'll be able to kind of send it to you guys. And that'll give you guys some kind of a sense of comfort when you guys get to that point. On really and truly what you guys can come back with, and what you guys can hit the client back with. Right now, I know it's a little bit more tough for you guys. You guys will watch ride-alongs and sometimes it's an immediate yes. And, for ride-along purposes, when a client agrees right away, I feel like it's pointless, because we want you guys to see those no's, right? And what we come back with.
And it's really hard. It's really hard doing rebuttals with someone on the team just because we know it's what you expect of us versus someone we don't know.
Also, Marty, in the chat, it looks like there's a question on common rebuttals that are being received, that maybe a quick run through on some stock answers that they could write down or type up.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't even looked at the chat yet, so let me see here.
It's the basics. Can't afford it, don't need this, already have it.
Okay.
yeah,
The basics.
and I'll let you know a couple of days later.
Okay. So let's go with I only see a rebuttal from Arbad, unless I'm not seeing them. I can't afford it, or there's 3 of them. I can't afford it. I don't need this. I already have insurance. Okay, so let's go with the first one. I can't afford it, right? I'm still gonna come in and say, now, Shaker and Samantha, I want to make sure that you guys did understand everything we went over. So you guys understand everything. And then also I want to make sure that you guys do see the need for this, right? So I'll kind of confirm those things, and then I'll also say, another thing, I want to make sure it is affordable, because God forbid, I don't want this taking food off the table. So he's gonna repeat, yeah, it's not affordable. So you don't want to down close right away, guys. Because if they just say, oh, I can't afford it, and you down close right away, you look desperate, or you might sound desperate, or you're just immediately going to down close, the client might sense that, they might not. But you want to try a couple of things, so I would say, now, Shaker and Samantha, wouldn't it be better to pay 286 a month right now versus 12 to 15K for your funeral and final expenses later? It's okay at this point to be like blunt and direct, right? But it has to make sense, and that's actually a true statement. Like, wouldn't you guys rather pay 286 a month right now rather than 10 to 12K for a burial later on? It kind of has their minds thinking and minds racing, Now, in their case, if they say they can't afford it, I would kind of come back and say, 286 is this much percentage of your income, which I haven't even done the math yet. So 15K times 15K you guys were making a month, right? Yeah, so it's very low. I think I want to say it's probably like,
Mine is like 1.9% of their.
yeah, so pretty much, so I would come back and say that. Now, I know you guys said you can't afford it, but this is only 2% of your income, guys. 2% of your income to protect yourselves and your future. So at that point, I would come and say that, and you can do it to anybody, even if they're making $2,000 a month and you pitch them 115, right? It's okay to come back and let them know how much percentage of their income it is, because it's really going to be on the low side, regardless. You would just kind of multiply their income, type in their income on the calculator, times, let's say you want to go 5%. So since Shaker and Samantha are 15K a month times
Hmm?
5%, that equals, $750. So that's 5%. So it's okay to bring the income or the percentage into play. Make sure they understood everything, make sure they see the need for it. Let them know, hey, would you rather pay 286 right now or 12K in the future for your funeral? Come back and say, this is only 2% of your income, guys. To me, it sounds really affordable, it's okay to say that. If I come back and say those few things and they still say, they really can't afford it, at that point, I'll say, okay, well, let me see if there's anything that they could do for you guys. I just have to send a quick email to the veteran organizations underwriting team and see what they come back with for you guys. All right, next one. I don't need this. Why? And that's my immediate answer. Why? Why don't you guys think you need this? So, Arbad, that was one of your things. Let's
That
roll.
was kind of the second and third one were kind of like together. Like I don't need it. I already have life insurance. I came across that like with one of my last presentations.
Okay, and thank you, Pete. And then do they have debt, those people that you sat with?
No, they didn't have anything over $10,000. It was just normal like credit card debt.
Credit card debt. Okay. So now I'll play that scenario out. In Shaker and Samantha's scenario, if they said that to me, very easy response, I don't need this, I already have life insurance. Now, and I didn't collect their debt. I think that I had wrote it down from the first time. Shaker, you had like auto 122K. You had a boat that had 200K on it as well, right?
Right.
So now, Shaker, I know that you said that you already have life insurance. I know you have that $200,000 in term. Do you know when that expires?
I don't.
No, do you know if it was like a 5, 10, 20, or 30-year term when you got it?
I'm guessing it's 60 at the age of 65 or 70.
65, okay. Now, God forbid, Shaker, if you are still alive past that age, that term's gonna expire. And if you want to renew it, it may be a lot more expensive, which in your case, you won't be able to because you're gonna be a senior. Now, let's just say, God forbid, you did pass away. Yeah, you do already have insurance. That 200K is not even gonna pay off a smidget of your debt. What we're doing over here for you is giving you a funeral final expense policy because it does pay out immediately within that 24 to 4, as soon as 24 to 48 hours. Make sure you guys say that as soon as 24 to 48 hours. Very important you guys say that. So this does pay out as soon as 24 to 48 hours, guys. So I'm assuming that 200K can go towards some of the debt that you guys have. And then even the leftover from this can go towards that debt. So in their situation, that's going to be an easy flip. I already have life insurance. If they live past 65, they don't anymore. If they don't live past 65, Samantha, that 200K, she's going to assume all of Shaker's debt, right? And I'm gonna
And you
put,
have a lot of it, my guy.
yeah. So Samantha, yeah, that 200 can go towards, the house, the credit cards, the cars, or the boat. Samantha's still gonna be in great debt. So what I would recommend for you guys is to go with this recommended and add coverage in the future to be able to kind of pay those debts off. Because they're gonna pay a lot of that $800,000 off of the house. They're gonna pay the boat off a little bit, So in the future, maybe even when that term expires, they're gonna want to add more whole life, or maybe before they reach a certain age, they'll want to add more whole lives, since rates become a little bit different once you hit the age of 60. So I'm gonna kind of go over all those options with them and let them know that. So for them, it's gonna make sense when I kind of go over all those things. Let's go over your scenario, Arbad. I don't need this. I already have life insurance. So how much life insurance was it, single or couple?
It was a single lady, and she said she already had $30,000 of whole life.
30K of whole life, okay. And then how old was she? Do you remember?
Man, she was a senior though. She was in her, I want to say 72, I believe.
72. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, do you know how much she was paying for that policy?
No, no.
Okay, so I always will ask at that point, not when I'm collecting if they have life insurance and the needs analysis, but if at that point I'm presenting the plan and I don't need this, I already have insurance. I got that she got 30K, I got that it's whole life. Um, I'm also gonna want to find out how much it's costing them, or I'm gonna ask as well, how long have they had it? You know, I'm gonna ask those two questions because they might not want to share with me how much they're paying, but they will share with me how long they've had it. Now, she's 72. If she tells me she's had it for 10 years, I'm gonna kind of know how much she's paying for it. I'm gonna go into my own little calculator here and I'm gonna type in, female, 62, and she has 30K. So in today's day, she'd be paying 188. She's probably paying a little bit less and she's had it for, let's say, maybe 10 years, right? She might be paying 150, right? Or whatever. So at that point, I'll kind of go over what she has. Now, I know you said you have that 30K. We're just gonna call her Mary. Mary, now I know you said you have that $30,000 whole life policy. Now, I do want you to know that you most likely do not have an immediate payout. With what I'm offering you, you're gonna have an immediate payout. Now, what were your plans, Mary, for that policy? So Arbad, you're gonna be Mary. What are your
Um,
plans for that 30K?
Mainly just for like final expenses, funerals, that and everything else.
Okay, funerals, that any family you want to leave anything behind for children, grandchildren?
No, they've all been taken care of.
Okay, so just kind of pay off debt, funeral, and final expense, just so the family's not coming out of pocket, I assume.
Right, right.
So that's one thing that's great about our policy here, Mary. We do have an immediate payout. Now, with what you have in place, that's most likely going to take anywhere from weeks or 3 months or more to come in. So at that point, Mary, your family is going to have to come out of pocket while they're waiting on that policy because, life insurance companies like to do their due diligence. They want to figure out what the cause of death was, and that takes time, you know. With us, it's going to pay out as soon as 24 to 48 hours. So why don't you keep that 30K policy to pay off your debt, maybe leave some money behind if the debt's paid off. And then what I'm offering you is a funeral and final expense policy that's going to pay out right away. So that's called a tie down right there. A tie down is using what they have against them or using what they don't have against them. In this situation, she had life insurance, right? But I used it against her because most likely she doesn't have an immediate payout. And the reason she has it is so her family doesn't come out of pocket and pay for her funeral and final expenses. So that would mean that her family would need that life insurance money right away. Well, they're not going to get it right away, because it's not going to pay out right away. A lot of life insurance companies will tell their members that they have immediate payout. What's your immediate payout? We're actually telling them it's 24 to 48 hours. Another life insurance company's immediate payout could be those weeks, could be a month, a lot of life insurance companies consider that immediate payout. So what I would do is I'm going to stress our concept out again, I'm going to go over the freedom of choice, which pays out immediately. Hers doesn't. Now, along with this, you're also getting the hospital benefits. God forbid, Mary, let me see here. Check that off. So now Mary is 72, you said, right, Arbad?
That's correct.
Right, okay. So I would probably, what did you picture? Do you remember?
I wish it might have been either like 10 or 12K of whole life
Yeah,
with the triple.
gotcha.
Mm.
So that's exactly what I would do, considering she does have life insurance and she really just does want a funeral and final expense policy to pay out right away. So I would picture the 150 a month right then and there, right there. But that's the rebuttal I would come back with, Arbad, for that. I don't need this. I already have life insurance. I would want to find out the reason she has it and what her plans are, and then exploit them or use them against her, which in that situation I did. It doesn't have immediate payout. I found out what she wants it for. She wants it for funeral and final expense, so her family doesn't come out of pocket. Unfortunately, they're not gonna get it right away. With ours, they are. So let's keep that 30K to pay off her debt, maybe leave some money behind for the family. I'm not gonna tell her to cancel, obviously, we don't do that. And then let me just give you this funeral and final expense policy, that way your family doesn't have to come out of pocket. So that's how
Perfect.
I would flip that one.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. Let me go back here. Samantha, are you 29 or 28?
I'm 29.
29, okay, gotcha.
Hey, Martin, so how do you figure out, like their income they make monthly how do they figure out, because I know how you figure out how much is a certain percent of something, but how do you kind of do it the other way around? Figure out like what percentage, of like what is the policy, like what the premiums are, how do you figure out the percent, what the premiums, like the percentage of premiums are, like the other way around?
So if you want to go off of based off their income, so the higher the income, the
Mhm.
lower the percentage you want to go. So in their
Exactly.
case, yeah, and typically our rule of thumb is 3 to 8%, right?
Right, yes.
So in their situation, they're making 15K. So
Correct.
if I'm really based it off of income, I would base it off of 3%, which I know is going to be a little bit more than what I pitched them. So I would do 15K on the calculator times
Times,
0.3%, then I hit
Yep.
equal. That'd be 450 a month. So I'm not gonna pitch them 450. So in that,
No.
yeah, in that sense, I know I'm below 3%. I'm not gonna waste my time to try to go and see exactly what it is unless I need to later in a down close or affordability and stuff like that. So I know I'm way below our rule of thumb, you know.
But how did you come up with the 2%? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh,
That
so
was
yeah, so if you do 15,000
Mm-hmm.
times 0.2%, that comes out to 300 even. So I had them right at 286. So like Arbot said, I think it was 1.9, right?
Yeah.
Somebody said 1.9. Yeah. So you could just keep doing on the calculator what their monthly income is times point and whatever percent you're going off of.
So
Now,
like point, like 1.9 equals, or if it's 1.9%, how do you, so it's 0.1, would that be 0.19 then?
1.9. Yeah, 1.9, you do the percent. So let me
No,
see.
okay, so and then you just put the percent, and that's how it comes out. Like, what if you have a calculator, like if you want to do it like on the iPhone, if you want to put a percentage and you put the amount, the income amount, and then times 0.5, that's 5%. But if it's 1.9%, how would you put it? Just 1 point.
Yeah.
0.019.
You take the monthly payment divided by their monthly income. So the 286 divided by 15,000 gives you 0.019. So then you move the decimal to 2 places, and that gives you the one. That tells you what percentage of the month.
Oh, so you would do the premium divided by 15,000?
Yeah, or you could just do it to simplify it so you're not doing the point or anything on the calculator. You could just do 15,000 times 1.9 and hit the percent symbol. Once you do that, hit the percent symbol, it's going to show you how it's supposed to be, which is 0.0019.
Yeah.
And then hit equal. So 15,000 times 1.9, hit the percentage button and then equals. Yep, and that'll give you the 285 or whatever I was pitching them. So
Martin, if they want to find out the exact percentage from their income, I don't know who just said it, but if it was like 286, you divide it by the 15,000, and then you multiply that by 100, and it's gonna tell you 1.9.
Exactly.
Oh, so 286 divided by 15,000 and times 100.
Like if you want to, yeah.
Right.
yep. Oh yeah, if you want to go off of, if you want to know what you're pitching them, right? You're
Right.
saying how to find the percentage out. Yeah, just like Arbot says, so you would go the monthly divided by their income, and then times that by 100, and then that gives you the exact.
So you do 286 divided by 15,000 equals, and then or you go right to times 100.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's 286. divided by 15,000, and then you multiply that by 100, and that's your percentage.
Oh, so you don't even press equals after 15,000, you go straight
You
to
don't
two
have to if you have
basics.
an iPhone yet.
You could not, it's up to you. It's not gonna
So
hurt you.
286 divided by 15,000 times 100. Thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
Gotcha. Sarah?
Right.
So my question, well, I had some questions about some things that you were talking about earlier, but
Sure.
I don't know if we've moved on from the math yet. But my question was, what age does the A71 expire?
A71.
Mm-hmm.
So
I actually have a page for that, Martin, that Jolene just shared me. I'll drop it in the chat.
okay, perfect.
And then I had one more question. So aside from the A71, so my question was about the rebuttals. So what if someone's like you're trying to get them to understand the value in it, and what if they were to say, "Well, you just sound like you're trying to sell me something," and I don't know.
No, I'm definitely not trying to sell you anything, Sarah. I'm trying to protect you. I take pride in what I do. I take pride in protecting our nation's veterans, and that's what I love doing. Just to give you a little bit of backstory on me, Sarah, when I was 19, I really wanted to join the Army, but my parents had different plans for me. I had to work and help the family out financially, so I was never able to serve. So that's why I enjoy and I take pride in what I do now. Personal statement is what I mean. You know, that's my personal statement. You let them know why you like doing this and what you're really doing it for, to protect them, you know?
Sold me, Marty.
Yep. So no, realistically, guys, you know, they're gonna ask you guys, oh, you're just trying to make a commission off of this. Sometimes I'll tell them, no, I actually don't. I get paid hourly, whether you guys want this or not. I'm still getting paid the same. You know, they don't have to know. It's okay to tell them that. Yeah, there's no legal boundaries or binds that you're gonna incriminate yourself or get into trouble for saying that, you know. Make them feel more comfortable, you know, because that part doesn't matter. You know, you're still truly trying to protect them, you know. So no, I'm definitely not trying to do this, Sarah. I'm trying to protect you is what I really like doing.
Got it. Thank you.
And then all these and all these there's all these you know, rebuttals and will be sent in that sheet once that's approved, correct?
100%. Yep, you guys will have all of them. Absolutely.
Hey Lindsay, what sheet did you put in the chat?
I haven't dropped it in there yet. I'm typing up some stuff. It's the whole life states the cutoff for whole life in certain states is different, and then the cutoff for A71 in different states is also different. Just so everybody's aware, when Jolene puts out a new updated new agent manual next week, she's going to have this all included in there as well.
Okay.
No, let me see. Oh, triple family. Okay. So let's go with I want to think about a scenario, right? So if a client says, I want to think about it, right? Now, I'm going to role play with Traveris, unmute.
Yeah.
So I just pitched a plan to you, Traveris, and you said, I want to think about it. What's there to think about, Traveris?
Want to think about it and compare what I already have and if I really need it, and also compare the prices for what I heard before.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I would actually love to help you with that, Traveris. Go ahead and pull out what you currently have, and I'll help you kind of compare, and we'll see what kind of works best for you, or maybe both do work best for you. So go ahead and pull it out, and I'll kind of help you. Say, give me another. I want to think about it. I just don't make decisions right away, or I need time to think about it.
Yeah, I don't make decisions on the spot, so I need some time to think about it at least until tomorrow or a few days.
Severus, that's actually kind of funny. I'm actually the same way. I don't like making decisions right there on the spot. So me and you are kind of more alike. So what I'm gonna do, Traveris, I've been talking your ear off. I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of mute myself. Just gonna run and grab me a glass of water while you're thinking about it, and I'll be back in just a brief moment, okay? That sound good?
Yep.
Cool. So I'll do that, you know, and I'll just kind of step off to the side. If it's husband and wife, it's great because they're gonna talk a lot. And a lot of these veterans, when you go to they really think that you can't hear them. I promise you, all of them, you know, and then, you know, you just kind of go off to the side. now you're gonna be able to really hear them out, you know. You guys are gonna hear things like the wife wanting it and the husband doesn't. So now you prepare yourself when you come back, gear everything towards the wife. You're gonna hear them say, you know, or the vice versa. The husband really wants it, the wife doesn't. You gear everything towards the husband when you come back. Or them just, you know, going over their financials, you know, like they really like it, but they're saying, you know, it's a little too expensive, you know, and I'm hearing that, you know. Um, if it's too expensive for them, but they kind of agree to it. When I come back, I'm gonna figure out, I'm gonna ask them, you know, so what do you guys think? Or did you guys make a decision yet? They're gonna be like, oh yeah, we kind of want to think about it. And then I know in the back of my mind, I heard them talk about affordability a little bit, right? So there's no way I would want to sell them at that 286, if I even heard them talking about it. So I would just kind of be like, you know, okay, you know, I want to make sure again, guys, you know, you guys did understand everything, right? And you do see the need for it. And most importantly, it is affordable because God forbid if it's not affordable or it's taking food off the table, I wouldn't even want to write this up for you guys. If you guys wanted to, they're gonna say, yeah, it is a little bit too expensive. So at that point, I'm gonna down close immediately at that point because they didn't say nothing about affordability in the beginning. They said I want to think about it. I gave them time. I know that it is affordability, but they're just not saying that. So even if I came back on and they did say they wanted it, but I heard the affordability, I'm gonna be a little hesitant about pitching them this plan. So I'm gonna bring the affordability into play myself because they agreed to it. They didn't say nothing about affordability to me when I pitched them, but I heard them say it. So at that point, I'm not gonna down close too much. I would tell them, hey, you know, I want to make sure it is affordable because if it's not, we can kind of customize this to fit your needs, you know. Yeah, it's not too affordable or whatever. They're gonna say that. I'll go on down close, not a lot because they didn't say nothing about affordability in the beginning, but they are now. So I'll probably down close to that same 249, keep it below 250, 125 apiece. But in your case, Traveris, so I'm just gonna go with whatever you want to say, you know. So all right, Traveris, I got my glass of water, man. My mouth is not dry anymore. Do you have enough time to think, or you need a little bit more time?
Yeah, I'm still gonna need a little bit more time. Like I said, usually make decisions with at least a day or so.
Okay. So like I said, Traveris, I know what you're saying and it does make sense because I'm the same way. But you know, we do work on servicing periods. And we've gained so much traction with this program with the veterans that we truly have to abide by our servicing period. And our servicing period in Georgia is coming to an end. So all we're doing right now is just kind of
Yeah,
locking you
done.
in at your youngest and healthiest age. You know, next servicing period for Georgia could be anywhere from 6 months to a year from now.
Give me one
At that
second.
point, you're going to be a little bit older and rates are going to increase.
Credit
So
card,
what we're doing
please.
now is just kind of locking you in at your youngest and healthiest age. So what do you say we go ahead and
Yeah,
lock
I'm
you
gonna
in?
put you in. Looks like there's 2 rooms, so I'm gonna put you
It
in
was-
training.
what do you say we kind of lock you in at your youngest and healthiest age? That's what we're doing here. And get this wrapped up for you. What do you say?
Okay, that sounds good.
So those are a couple of I still want to think about it options right there, you know. What's there to think about? Find out why. You know, he said I want to think about it immediately. What's there to think about? Straight, firm, and direct. You know, what's there to think about? Because you want to know. He told me he doesn't make decisions right away. You know, he needs time to think. He needs a day. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you as much time as you need. I'm gonna step away. Come back. He still wants to think about it. I'm gonna bring servicing period into play. You know, servicing period in Georgia is coming to an end. And I do have about 40 or 50 more members to get to. You know, we have you here right now. We're gonna be able to issue that no cost package out to you. And then I don't know when the next time we're gonna be in your servicing period. It could be anywhere from 6 months to a year from now. So you make them think about all that. You know, this is not you're not telling them take it or leave it right now, but you want them to take it now. You know, you're pretty much saying it without saying it. Now, if you would have said, you know, I still want to think about it, you know, if I just gave it my best shot, I came back with all my rebuttals and he says, you know, I want to think about it. All right, give me a moment. Let me see if there's anything I could do. And I'll be right back with you. I'll turn my video off and I'll mute just for a brief moment. And then when I come back, okay, Traveris, so what I was able to do for you, I'm actually able to put on a 24-hour hold. And that's it. So what time's a good time to give you a call back tomorrow to kind of go over this? I'm not gonna put the ball in their court. I'm not gonna let them tell me, oh, they need 3 days or a week, because 3 days or a week from now, guess what? They're not gonna answer. I promise you guys, they're not gonna answer. I'm able to do a 24-hour hold, even though we're not in Georgia servicing period. We did go over this when we are. So what time's a good time to give you a call tomorrow to go over this? I'm never gonna do more than a 24-hour hold. At that point, I would give them my number. If they're interested, they can give me a call back, but I'm never gonna put it on more than a 24-hour hold. I know how that goes. I've done it. It never works out. Because what they'll do is they'll take their time, they'll go shop around and call a bunch of other people and all that stuff. And, American Income doesn't have the greatest rates. We're not the cheapest, we're not the most expensive, we're like right there in the middle. But what makes sense is our concept, the freedom of choice, the immediate payout, the hospital benefits, the house payment riders, the cash value calculators, not, or the cash value, not everybody's gonna give them that, so our concept makes sense, so that's what I would do. I'm not gonna give anybody more than 24 hours. At that point, I gave him my best shot with Traveris. He still wants to think about it, so I'm giving him 24 hours. Otherwise, they can have my number and call me back. You guys just don't want to get your hopes up. They said, oh, we need a week, right? And all week you're just kind of waiting, Sonia Williams shaking her head because me and Sonia went through that in one of her deals, and her deal was like locked. I remember it was sealed and the guy just didn't have the right bank. And when I came on the EAP to help Sonia, I was just listening in and I could tell that Sonia had the best sit because the guy was just so engaged with her. It was husband and wife, right, Sonia? Yeah, they were so engaged with her, and they were just kind of going back and forth, like their vibe was great with each other, So he told Sonia that he was gonna open up a bank account. It was like a Thursday, I think he said he was gonna open up a bank account, and then Monday he would be ready. Yeah, sure enough, we called him on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and still to this day we can't get a hold of him. So it never works out. We give them opportunity to go shop around or think about it, or they're gonna forget about it. And when you do call them days or a week later, they really didn't talk about it much or it wasn't important for them, and they're just either not gonna answer or just give you a no. So give them 24 hours, keep it fresh in their mind, let them sleep on it. The following day, I'm gonna text them about what time we're supposed to be meeting. So now it's the following day in the morning. I'm gonna text them to remind them about that time. And an hour prior, I'm gonna text them again. That way, when I call them at the time, Traverse is gonna answer. And at that point, he's gonna say yes or no. If he says no, I'm gonna come back firing. Now, Traverse, you're young, it makes the most sense for you to go with something like this right now. This is only costing you, Traverse, how old are you? Like for real, how old are you?
24.
24, okay. So I'm giving Traveris the world over here. I'm not giving him no writers. If they're single, I don't give them no writers. There's no spouse to leave it behind for, Um, I'm giving Traveris 100K. This is what I'm pitching him, If he says no, he doesn't want it, I'm gonna ask why. So Traveris, why don't you want to go with this? I know we gave you a whole day to think about it.
Um,
Say, I don't need it right now. I'm too young. I don't need it right now. Whatever. Just give me whatever reason.
yeah, I'm just too young right now, so I really don't need it at all.
So just so you know, Traveris, this is the most important time for you to get it. Because if you truly do go by cost of insurance, now you said you were 24 years old, correct?
Yep.
And Traveris, you're a non-tobacco user. So 24, and I'm actually giving him 100K. So let me see here. Oh, this calculator went all wacky. Why is it working? 24. Okay. So now I'm gonna bring this calculator into view. Now, the 100K for Traveris, yeah, I'm pitching him 116 a month, but the 100K is the only thing that builds cash value. So his 100K is costing him $101, and then over here it's 8. So it's costing him roughly 110, right, guys? So over here, if you guys, the true cost of insurance makes sense for people under the age of 31 to purchase it. Why? Because it's costing him 110, right? And he's exactly 41 years from the age of 65. So let me see here, 41 times 12 months. So that's 492 months at $110. So for Traveris, it's costing him 54K by the time he hits the age of 65, but he's able to pull out $40,000 of that, right? He's able to pull out $40,000 of that 54K that he's put in. Now he's gonna have 60K left over. So he's gonna have 60K and he's only had 14K put in. So you bring that, you know, you gotta really truly understand cash value and how it works to be able to present it the right way. So anybody that's like 31 or younger, it makes the most sense for them to buy life insurance because it's so cheap at that point, where it can become really beneficial at the retirement age of 65 when they go to pull it out. So for Traveris, it makes the most sense, and I'm gonna make sure that he understands that it makes sense for him to purchase a policy like that. And you guys can go over all that with him, you know, in detail. If you guys think you need more help with cash value, reach out to your upline, reach out to me. I can kind of go over in greater detail. But it kind of speaks for itself. You know, you literally multiply what they're getting, how much they're paying. So he could pull out 40K and he's only got 54K put in. So at that point, if he pulls out that 40K, he only has 60K left over out of this 100, and he's only had $14,000 that he's put in. So it makes the most sense, doesn't it? Right. So it's all about how you present it and portray it to them for it to make sense. So at that point, I just probably mind boggled Traveris, and he told me he's young and you know he doesn't want it right now, but it makes the most sense for him to get it right now. Because once he's older, obviously it's gonna be more expensive, you know. This is 116 right now. If he waits till the age of let's say 34, there you go. It went from 116 to 180. And you can show him that. You know, you can let him know that. You know, every year that goes by, it gets more expensive. So Traveris, if you want to wait 10 years from now, something like this would cost you $180 a month, you know, and you're going to have a lot less cash value because you just let 10 years of building cash value go away. You know, we're trying to lock you in at your youngest and healthiest age for you to accumulate the most cash value that you can. So that's that phone call the following day. Now, Traveris, what do you say we go ahead and lock you in at that 116?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not saying no. So give me one quick second, guys. All right, guys, sorry about that. Any other scenarios or any other questions? Oh yeah, hold on. Mark Daco.
So, not necessarily a question. With Travarius, you had the rebuttal where he said, "I'm going to take a day." I've heard of that one. At what point after you said, "I'll give him 24 hours, not let them pick the time or anything"? What point do you ever use the starter? Do you ever come back and ever say like, "It's not affordability or anything. Let's just lock you in at this rate and knock it out"?
So in his situation, it was affordable to him, so he didn't question the affordability. He just said he wants to think about it, you know. So at that point, I'm not gonna down close or come back with a starter. This starter is just here, for example, from the last scenario that we did, Mark. But in his situation, is just he wants to think about it. So I'm gonna exhaust all my options, right? I'm gonna give it my best shot to flip him, and I'm gonna come back with like 2 or 3 solid rebuttals, you know. If after those 2 or 3 solid rebuttals, he did it, he still wants to think about it, I don't want to sound too pushy at that point, or I don't want to sound desperate, or I don't want it to be forced at that point, you know, because I know I gave him my best shot. And if he's still saying he wants to think about it, that's when I would put him on that brief hold. Let me see if I can get manager approval to hold it for you. Come back a couple minutes later. So good news, Traveris. I did talk to my manager. We're able to put it on a 24-hour hold. And we'll figure out a time. I'll call him back tomorrow. I could have came back with more. I have more rebuttals for I want to think about it, you know. But at first he said he wants to think about it, then he still wants to think about it, and I gave like 2 to 3 rebuttals for each one. So at that point, I don't want to sound pushy. I don't want it to sound forced. I'm gonna put the ball back in his court. I'm gonna do what he wants. I'm gonna give him 24 hours to think about it. And I'm just gonna let him know. I'm gonna confirm that he's going to respond. Now, Traveris, you know, whether you want it or not, just regardless, answer my phone call tomorrow. No hard feelings if you don't want it, man. I just need to put something into the system, you know. I'll let them know that, you know, to solidify that they're gonna respond. You know, whether it's a yes or no, it's okay to say that. Knowing that, I'm gonna make sure that I sell this one the following day. You know,
Awesome.
because
Thank you.
he was almost, yeah, you're welcome. He was almost there. Sarah, I'm just going in the order that I see you guys on my screen with the hands up.
So, so would the 24-hour hold be just kind of like a last resort? Like you can kind of tell that they don't want it maybe, but you want to let them know that this is going to be the only time period to get something?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's like last ditch effort, last resort. You know, before you let them go, especially in this scenario, I want to think about it. Um, you know, even if the servicing period was ending today, we did go over this today. I can put it on a 24-hour hold, you know, we'll kind of resume it tomorrow. So yeah, so that's, you know, you can do that, you know, if they want to think about it, you know. If it's affordability, you don't need to put it on a 24-hour hold because even if you down close and they say no, there's no reason to put on a hold. So we'll play another scenario out. In a moment, once I answer Jennifer and Helen's questions, we're gonna play a scenario out where the client tells me, you know, yeah, no, I don't make decision. I have to read everything, you know. Send this to me, I'll read it and I'll get back with you. So there's a rebuttal for that. And I'll go over that one with you guys because a lot of them, when the agent hears that, they're like, wow, this guy wants to read everything, you know, there's no way I can have him read everything. He wants me to send it out to him. And you guys might be stuck in that situation, right? So let's hold that thought. Let me answer Jennifer's question and then we'll come back to that scenario. Alexander.
Sorry, there's like landscapers right outside my house now.
Okay.
No, have you ever, or how do you get the one where they basically say they don't care what happens, somebody else can deal with it, it doesn't matter, they'll be dead? I've gotten that a few times, and I mean, I've joked with them on it and stuff, but
So at that point, I would say, you know, so any family members that, or who's your beneficiary, you know, if they say that, who's your beneficiary? I'll get the beneficiary name. Now, is John, you know, the beneficiary, is John gonna be able to pay for everything and take care of everything for you guys? Is he the one doing it all for you guys? Is he the one that's gonna get stuck with the bill? I'll say it just like that. It's okay to be direct at that point.
oh, I've had them come back and tell me, yeah, and they can afford it, and it's not my problem.
Who can afford it? Their benefit.
Like their kids, they're like they're well off, it's fine, they can deal with it. I don't really care. I've like literally had that.
Yeah, so at that point, I would come back and say, okay, so that's fine, they can afford it. But that's why I kind of like to call this a money-making policy, Jennifer. And what I mean by that is, you know, a day in the hospital, you know, pays for this policy for 2 months. A week in the hospital actually pays for a year, along with the cash value over here. So along with protecting yourself and your spouse, Mary, you guys are getting that whole life policy. God forbid if it was an accidental, the beneficiary or the spouse is gonna get more. You have the living benefits like we just talked about, so you can make money off of this policy, along with the cash value. So it's not just a life insurance policy, guys. It's an investment, and like I said, I like to call it a money-making policy because there's multiple ways you guys can generate revenue from it. You know, so a lot of them think that they don't need it or they don't want to make that monthly payment. You know, if they say that, be like, you know, I like to tell all my members, you know, they're making that $116 a month payment, but they're getting back a return on their investment at 4.5%, you know, in the cash value. You know, right now, and I'll also say this too, and this is really eye-opening to them. Right now, your money is sitting in the bank growing at 0.1 to 0.3. Why don't you guys protect yourselves and have your money grow at 4.5?
Oh, I've used that too, but I have had a couple where they don't really have any family. They don't really care what happens to them. They're like, they can throw me wherever. And I'm like, okay, like you can't really sell somebody that is so black-pilled, I guess.
Was it a single person or husband and wife?
Single.
Yeah. So I've had those before too. And I've gave it my best shot. I've tried everything that I could.
I always try to build the cash value one because I'm like with inflation, with everything else, you're
Yeah.
gonna get better interest rate on this than anything in the bank.
Yeah.
Like you're lucky to get a 1% interest at the bank right now, but you're getting 4.5 here. But some people just anyway.
Yeah, no, so Jennifer, I really want you to know that, if you give it your best shot, you're gonna have those stubborn people that I've had them, oh, I don't care. They could just cremate me, they could dump my ashes anywhere, whatever. As long as you gave it your best shot, even if it wasn't a sale, like in that situation where I've had quite a few, I'm okay. Once I close everything out and I'm done, I'm good with it because I know I gave it my best shot. I tried my hardest. It was a dope presentation. I gave it my all. I gave every rebuttal. To that person, it just doesn't make sense, and that's okay. Not everybody's gonna buy, guys. Not everybody needs it, but there are a lot of things that we can try to convince them that they do need it or it is beneficial. And I've had those ones like Jennifer has had before. And I walked away with no sale. But at least you give it your best shot. And I've walked away with some of those kind of people that it did make sense. And they did buy from me with those rebuttals that I gave them, talking about cash value, talking about hospital benefits, talking about freedom of choice. You want to find out the beneficiary name though, and then you bring that person into play. You always paint the picture, name drop, paint the picture.
That actually is one other thing, but this is kind of completely unrelated on the sale thing. For beneficiaries, how do you put that in e-app when they have more than like when they want it split?
So
Because I
on,
mean, you have the primary and the beneficiary, but or the contingent.
yeah,
But
like Mr. Shaker over here wants to split it between his 8 children, right?
Mhm.
So whether it's 2 children or 8 children, in the notes where we write down the medications for a senior, you'll put down beneficiary names and you'll put down first and last name for each one.
Okay, got it.
Yep, absolutely. Helen.
Hello. Quick question. Can you do a workshop on cancellation?
Yeah, hold on a second. Okay, good. You lost the echo. I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, can you do a workshop on cancellation and how to save it?
Like if a member cancels a policy?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like say if you sell them today and they call you 2 days later, say, hey, I want to cancel. And like, oh, why? What's wrong? Stuff like that. And they're like, oh, we still want to search for different companies.
Yeah, so at that point for that certain scenario, immediately I'm gonna rebut them. Yeah, absolutely. I don't blame you guys for wanting to shop around. But I give you guys my word, nobody's gonna have that immediate payout and be able to offer you guys those living benefits. So please take in consideration when you guys are shopping around, that you guys are just not looking at the whole life number, which is any cause of death. Take into consideration what you guys are also receiving with this, which is the immediate payout, the living benefits and the hospital benefits, along with the building cash value. Other life insurance companies will offer cash value at a lower percentage. So with us, keep in mind the cash value is at 4.5%. The living benefits are great because God forbid if you end up in the hospital, this policy is going to be paid for X amount of months, along with the accidentals. God forbid if it was an accident, you see what the payouts would be. So in that situation, I would give that a shot. You know, they say they want to shop around, and you tell them all that right there, it might strike a chord and they may say, you know what, yeah, you're right, let's go with this, or they might shop around. And at that point, I would give them a call back. I would wait a few days and give them a call back and say, hey, just want to see if you guys did shop around, seeing if there was any other lucrative offers that came your way. I would like to kind of maybe hear them out or kind of compare with you guys exactly what you guys are getting with us versus what you guys are getting with them, so. Okay, who wants to play a certain scenario out with me? Somebody. Come on. Somebody.
I will.
Helen? Okay. Now, Helen, I just pitched you the plan and yeah, everything sounds good. I do like it. Just go ahead and send me the paperwork. I want to read it before I commit to anything. So she just said that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely, Helen. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. So what we're gonna do, if that 116 is affordable, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and type up the application. I'm gonna sign it from my end, and I'm actually gonna email it to you and just have you read it over. I'll be on the phone with you just in case you have any questions. I'll be able to answer those questions. And if everything looks good, go ahead and sign it and we'll be all done. I'm not gonna send it to them and give them time to read it. No, we're gonna go ahead and do the application. I'm gonna send it over to you and just go ahead and read everything right there in detail. Because when you guys actually send them the EAP for them to sign, for those of you that have been in EAP, they're gonna receive page 1, they're gonna receive page 2. If they're not seniors, they're gonna receive the medications and the questionnaires. And then all those other pages that we click X on towards the end, we keep on Xing out of them. They're gonna receive all those, and all those have the details on them on exactly what we pitched them. So yeah, that's exactly what we're gonna do. No, just I don't want to do the application. Just go ahead and send this out to me. So just so you know, Helen, the system actually does not allow me to do that. I know you want to read all the fine print, and that's exactly what I want to do for you. So let's go ahead and get the application done. I'm gonna sign it from my end. That's gonna be the only way that you can read everything. Whether you like it or not, I just want you to read everything. So let's go ahead and get this application knocked out. I'll send it over to you. I'll have you read it while I'm on the phone with you. That way I can answer any questions that you have. That's a super dope one for people that say, hey, I want to send it to me. I want to read everything, because your initial reaction would be like, okay, there's no way I can flip them. How am I going to send them everything or I can't, But yeah, just gear it towards that way. Let's get the EAP done. Let's make sure you 100% qualify, let's get the application. Go ahead and grab your medications. Let's list the medications that you're taking. At that point, you've already, and you still have to solidify. Now, if we do get you qualified, I want to make sure that 116 is affordable month in and month out, right, Helen?
Right, it is.
Yep.
It is.
And then Lindsay just came back with a good one. Yep, fiduciary responsibility. Our fiduciary responsibility is client first, company second, myself third. So I'm always gonna put the best option in front of you guys. That's our fiduciary responsibility to them. So, and that's a powerful statement, like Lindsay said. So,
Occasionally, I have something cool to say.
what's that, Lindsay?
Said occasionally I've got something cool to say.
Absolutely. Anything else that any of you guys have encountered? Traveris, I know you've been in SITS. Mark, Daco, you've been in SITS. Travis Blythe, I know you've been in SITS, buddy. Arbad, Helen, Jennifer Alexander. Any other scenarios that you guys have heard or you guys want to kind of hear some rebuttals to? Traveris, just anybody.
Yeah.
Mark, what's up, buddy?
So I have an issue where they're really like
Oh, we can't hear you, Mark. Oh, now we can.
there
Okay.
you go. Sorry, Helen, me, and Jimmy are all next to each other, and our speakers are going crazy.
Oh, okay.
So I just wanted to ask a quick question. If they are not needed or N1, do you just send them a copy digitally through email, or do you go out of your way to send them the burial guide and will kit and print it out and all that?
Absolutely. Send that to everybody. This check symbol I'm gonna hit at the bottom.
Okay.
Yeah, just because they didn't buy it doesn't mean we shouldn't send this to them. This is what they actually requested.
Well,
You know,
not that they didn't request it. I'm just saying, sometimes like I will follow up like a week later, even if it was in an N or something like that, and they'll be like, I never received anything in the mail. So I do send a digital one, but do you go and print it out and all that, or no?
I try not to. I've done it. I've done it quite a few times in the past. The older generation, they don't know how to operate with email and stuff like that. So, if I sold them and they really requested it in the mail, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and print these out for them and I'm gonna mail it to them.
Okay.
If I didn't sell them and they wanted it to come in the mail, I'm just gonna email it to them and I'm gonna let them know that they're getting an email to them. But that's good to do, Mark. If you want to follow up with your NNs a week later, or whatnot, that's okay. Now, when you guys do the report card with these people right here, it's always good to do this regardless if they bought or not. Do they belong to a VSO? Yes or no? Go through these questions with them right here. And then, ask them these questions, and check whichever one they really did like. Now, if they didn't buy, ask them, would you guys be interested, in revisiting this in the next servicing period? They're most likely going to say yes. Click that button right there. They're going to get recycled, and 6 months to a year later, they're going to be an actual lead again. If you guys click this button right here, they're going to be an actual lead again. Now, Mark, in your situation, depending on what the NN was, if it was like truly affordability or just not a good time for them, generally a week, the answer is not going to change. But you can ask them, hey, I know you guys just started your job, you guys want to revisit this next month? I can give you guys a call. Give them a month to get their, income up financially since they're just starting a job. Or if the NN was like, it's just not the right time, we've went through some stuff in life and, we want to revisit this in the future and whatnot. Hey, it's okay to not even do this right here. If you guys don't want them to be a lead again, screenshot their card, put it in a photo album, put some notes on it. Hey, I want to call them 6 months later. You can resolve them as presentation, no sale. But hey, guess what? You still have the card. Put in your notes a few notes, and yeah, call them back 6 months later, revisit it, and sell them then. Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Thanks.
Traverse,
Yes.
everybody, I know you got some questions.
Yeah, so mainly the main ones that I've had, they're either where they couldn't really genuinely couldn't afford it and one, but um oddly enough, the ones that I mainly just have the issues with is where they would, say they need to have a little bit more time to think about it and or not really too much issues with, if they had insurance or not, which is surprising to me, but it's mainly if, they have to think about it and um
Portability.
affordability, and it'll be those ones where, they just, I guess, not interested in getting another policy because I guess they had the insurance policy they had for so long, they're comfortable with it. They're not interested in getting another one. They just wanted the no cost benefits.
Yeah. So for me, last ditch effort, if it's really affordability and I just couldn't really sell them anything and they just can't afford it or they just, still want to think about it. Last ditch effort, I'm gonna pitch them, somewhere between like 50 to 60 bucks a month. So I'll come here, I'll bring this down to single individual. And I know single individual is like $2. Let's say I want to pitch them 56 bucks a month, right? I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna change this number to $54. Now I have a $56 plan for them. I'm probably gonna clean this number up a little bit, make it like 50K. And I'm gonna pitch this to them right here. Last ditch effort, I'm gonna go single. Now, Traveris, they did come back with a starter program for you, just to lock you in at your youngest and healthiest age, knowing that you can always kind of upgrade or make changes in the future. And also, we could all be a doctor visit or a prescription away from being uninsurable. So what this does, this truly kind of locks you in. It was at 58, what made it 60, whatever, it doesn't matter. So with this right here, they're giving you guaranteed $50,000 in whole life. You still have some accidentals, God forbid, if you passed away like that. And they reduce the hospital benefits, but you still do get paid for being in the hospital. And that's costing you only $60, 68 cents a month, which comes out to $2 a day. You know, at that point, your last ditch effort, if they really truly do want something, they're gonna go with this. Now, something else that you guys can do, which is pretty cool. If they're working, right? Let's say that Samantha is working, okay, and Samantha makes 25 bucks an hour at her job, right? And she's working 40 hours a week, okay? So now 25 times 40, so Samantha's weekly paycheck is $1,000, right? But she's making $25 an hour. So let's say I go back to the initial one, which is $116 a month that I'm pitching Samantha. You guys can go off of their hourly wage, like Samantha, I know that you're working and you said that you're making $25 an hour. And this is only costing Samantha $100, right? Or, yeah, let's just say $100 for easy math. Now, Samantha, I just want you to know that you would be working 1 hour during the whole week to pay for this. because $25 a week times 4 is $100. So Samantha, you just have to commit to 1 hour of working that week, and that pays for this for the whole month. That's called the hour power philosophy right here. Hour power philosophy. So if I go back to needs analysis and I changed Samantha's information to her income, if I change it to hourly, and let's just say Samantha's making $25 an hour, we'll just say so Shaker. This is actually a really cool philosophy that we that a lot of us still do use. You know, you go to pitch the plan, you're on hour power. So now let me see here. We're gonna take off. Let's just say it's Shaker, and Shaker is 25 years old. And I'm going off of this right here, you know. So I'm pitching the hour power, you know, still relatively close, but let's say I gave him 200K. Okay, that's 181 right there, right? So 181 divided by 4, which is 4 weeks in the month. So $45.25. Now, Samantha, you're working just under 2 hours the whole week. So out those 40 hours that you're working, just under 2 hours is gonna pay for this right here. To them, it makes the most sense, especially if they have like a wife and kids, you know, and you have children into this, and you're letting them know that they're only working 2 hours out of the whole week, and that's gonna pay for this. Dude, who would not want to do it? Seriously, who would not want to do it? So in that case, if they're working, and needs analysis, you guys still want to gather what they're making monthly, because in the monthly you're getting everything, whether it's working, social security, retirement, disability, 401k, you're getting that total, right? So you're putting that into the monthly. Now you can also go back and ask them, you know, what are you guys making per hour at your job? You know, it's okay to ask that, even if you don't want to type it in here. Samantha told me, hey, she's making $25 an hour. I'm gonna keep that in the back of my mind. I'm not gonna base the whole pitch off of it, but I would use that in a rebuttal. Just like I would do a percentage, you know, it's only 2% of your income. Or hey, you're only working 2 hours out of the week, just under 2 hours to be able to get this. You're working 38, you're working an hour and 35 minutes to get this, whatever it is, you know. To me, if somebody said that to me, I'm working these 40 hours, and if only an hour and a half pays for this, to a person like me, it makes sense. And I'm gonna go with it. So that's the hour power philosophy. You can find out how much you're making per hour and then kind of pitch them off of that. And it's easy to do. You know, if I was pitching Samantha $200 a month, she's making $25 an hour, 200 divided by 25, that's gonna come out to 2 hours a week or something like that. 200 divided by 25, that's 8, or that's gonna give you the hours in the month. So that's gonna be 8 hours a month, 2 hours a week, you know? So. Lindsay,
Yes.
give me a scenario.
Okay, so for example, Marty, let's say you have a husband and a wife,
Yep.
and you know, they can be senior or non, it doesn't really matter, but let's say one of them is non-insurable. How would you approach it to be able to sell the other spouse a plan, knowing that you're gonna have to kind of, you know, give them the disappointing news that one of them is no longer insurable?
Right. So obviously in the needs analysis, I'll find out the husband is uninsurable because he has heart issues, or let's say the wife is uninsurable. Give me a scenario, Lindsay, an exact scenario. Let's
Okay,
say
so for an
they're
exact scenario, let's just say,
how old?
yeah, we'll do senior just because it's a little bit easier. So senior, age 65 and 60. The male's 65. So he has had a heart attack in the past 2 years, and although the prognosis looks good, it was within the last 2 years. The wife maybe has diabetes, high blood pressure, but is insurable. So how would you go ahead and sell that one?
Gotcha. Okay. So very good one, Lindsay. So, you know, and what's their income combined, Lindsay?
So combined income for the both of them, they're both retired. Let's just call it 7,600 a month.
7,600 a month. Okay, perfect. So now, just so you guys know, when you're dealing with seniors, see, they're gonna get senior graded whole life up until 34,999. Now, does everybody know what senior graded is? You guys probably don't know. You guys do? Okay. For those that don't know, senior graded pays out over a 4-year span, or not necessarily. Let's just say I just enrolled somebody with senior graded, and they passed away this year, the year that I enrolled them. They're only going to get 25% of that 35,000 this year. Next year, they're going to get the next 25%. Third year, they're going to get the next 25, and the fourth year, they're going to get the last 25. Now, let's just say I enrolled them today and they passed away 5 years later. They're going to get everything up front because senior graded only goes for 4 years after you enroll them. So it takes 4 years to mature. Now, in their situation, they're making 7,600 a month. So this is something that I kind of want you guys to look at. Now, as senior graded, giving them 34,999 is with triple individual is costing her 217, right? Now, if I want to give them more than 35K, I have to change it to whole life, which is really cool here. And I'll pay attention to this. I click on this select option. I change it to whole life. Now I'm going to give them 35,000, right? Not 34,999. Look at the price in monthly. Look what happened to it. It went to 188. It's going to be a lot cheaper because now they're getting whole life and not senior graded, you know? So this in this particular scenario, I'm gonna play Lindsay's method out, but I kind of like these scenarios a lot over here. Such a young age of 60, you can kind of do it with maybe even 62 or 63. So I'm gonna go with Lindsay's scenario and kind of let them know. So I pitched a plan. I'm kind of going over things with them. And I just talked about the 3 ways that they can pay for it. And I'm getting ready to pitch the plan. So, and we're just gonna go Shaker and Samantha. Now, Shaker, unfortunately, we don't. What was the issue, Lindsay?
He had a heart attack within the last 2 years.
Perfect. How long ago was it exactly?
Year and a half.
Year and a half. So he's got 6 months to go.
Yep.
Perfect. All right, cool. All right. So this one, Shaker had a heart attack. He's got 6 months to go before he can be insurable. I can only pitch Samantha. It's called a one-legger. It's a little challenging because they're both not going to get coverage. So here's how I would portray this one. I clicked on here. Now, unfortunately, Shaker, due to having that heart attack about a year and a half ago, we're not going to be able to provide you with a plan right now. But we are going to be able to kind of give Samantha a plan. And what I would like to do with you, Shaker, is 6 months from now, when you're heart attack free for 2 years, we're going to be able to get you on board with Samantha. Now they're probably going to say, oh, no, we're just 6 months later, we'll just kind of both get insured ourselves. So the reason that I would like to lock Samantha in right now, because we are locking in Samantha at today's rate. Again, the whole doctor visit, prescription away from being uninsurable. So what we're doing is we're locking Samantha in at today's rate. Why? Because I would like that cash value for you guys to start accumulating now versus 6 months from now. Let's not lose all that cash value, Shaker and Samantha. So let's just go ahead and get Samantha enrolled right now. And then 6 months from now, Shaker, I'll give you guys a call and we'll go ahead and add you to the policy. So in this situation, Shaker was just uninsurable for a brief moment, because he had a heart attack a year and a half ago. 6 months down the line, he's going to be heart attack free for 2 years. Now he's going to be insurable. So this one was kind of like an easier scenario for me because, hey, let's get Samantha locked in now because 6 months later, it is going to be more expensive for Samantha too. So let's get her locked in now. It's going to be a little bit cheaper. So Samantha can start accumulating that cash value. And again, Samantha's a non-tobacco user. Actually, I'd have to go down to this part right here. For senior, she's female, non-tobacco user, 60. And I'm giving her pretty much 35K. So I don't want you guys to miss out, on part of that $2,500 or part of that $6,800. That's 6 months of making payments that Samantha's going to be able to accumulate cash value. Plus, at the same time, Shaker and Samantha, God forbid, if something did happen to Samantha within the 6 months, Shaker, would you be able to live with yourself? He's not here. I think he left. But I would say that, Shaker, would you be able to live with yourself? Paint the picture. It's okay to paint the picture. Whether you're sounding direct, whether you want to sound a little bit empathetic, it makes sense, because he truly does want it. He just can't right now, but Samantha can. So I'm gonna lock Samantha in, and 6 months down the line, when Shaker's insurable, I'm gonna go ahead and bring Shaker on. So that's one way. Now, let's say the client is totally uninsurable. They have
Kidney disease, dialysis, whatever.
yeah, chronic kidney disease, and they have chronic kidney failure, right? So I know the husband is just not insurable at all, right? Same thing, I would come in and let's say, God forbid, Shaker has this kidney issue, but he's not gonna pass away another 10, 15, 20 years, right? So now Shaker can't get life insurance, so I'm coming in, I just pitched the plan. Yep. So I'm starting off, and Shaker is just not insurable at all, totally. Now, Shaker, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to offer you a policy due to your health conditions. But what we're going to do is we have a policy offered for Samantha, and I'm going through the plans, this and that. And now Samantha's like, well, I don't want to if my husband can't get it. What if he passes away before me? Hey, you know what, Samantha? I'm glad that you said that. So with you having this policy, you're going to be accumulating cash value. Okay. So let's just say, God forbid, Shaker passes away and he has no life insurance. Let's say he passes away, I don't know, 10 years down the line, right? You're going to have $6,800 in cash value accumulated, Samantha. So you can actually pull that money out and pay for Shaker's funeral with it. Shaker is not insurable. He can't get life insurance. They really want it for Shaker as well, but Shaker just can't get it, So instead of just kind of walking away from it, let this cash value build for Samantha, right? Because when Shaker passes away, Samantha has this cash value that she can pull out and use towards Shaker's funeral and final expenses. That make sense? Pretty cool, right? So you just flip it, you flip it. Yeah, Shaker can't get life insurance, but hey, Samantha, you're protected. God forbid if you passed away before Shaker. And if Shaker passed away before you, you're gonna have cash value accumulated that you can pull out and use for Shaker's funeral. So you flip it that way. It's called indirect coverage. It's money that they can use if there's a spouse that's uninsurable. It's called indirect coverage. So that's another way you can flip it, which is really cool. You guys probably didn't know about that, but now there is a way that the husband can get his expenses taken care of if he doesn't have life insurance. Jennifer. I'm just gonna grab some water. I can hear you.
Oh no, I think it's just the way you did it on here. I was wondering why Samantha wasn't showing any accident coverage or anything and only Shaker was, but
Oh yeah, and I'll show you guys how you can properly do that.
I was like, that's probably not right. That's all.
So in a situation like that, when you guys are on plan generator, and you're only pitching the spouse, not the veteran. So what I typically do, I would come here and I would just kind
Oh,
of
because you
change
have to
this
switch
to
them.
Samantha.
Had to do that once,
Change this
yes.
yep. Shaker, I would make this 60, I would make this 65.
Oh, I didn't like that.
Make that male. Now over here it's
Jacked
Samantha.
up your ages.
Samantha is 60 and Shaker is 65. Okay. So now Samantha's up here. I'm just gonna disinclude Shaker. I'm gonna come in and just kind of give Samantha her plan. And then
Yep,
when
I
I
actually
pitch
did
it,
have
yeah, it'll be pitched properly.
actually did have to do that once.
Yep.
That was that one that had to do that extra survey after the fact.
Mhm.
I had to work with you on.
Now, check this out, guys. This is really cool right here. So Samantha's a senior. If you want to give her like 40K, since senior graded is selected, once I go to type in 40K and I tab out of it, it's gonna take it down to 34,999, right? Now I know this 34,999 is 208 a month, right? Let's just say this is what you're going with, and you pitched the plan, right? You pitched the plan and like this and that, and they're liking it and whatnot, but they said, oh, it's just a little too much for me. It's not affordable, or whatever. Whatever, came back with a couple of rebuttals before you down close. Now you have to down close. So in this situation, it's really cool. What you're gonna do, come back to the calculator, change this to whole life, give them 35K at 179 now. $30 cheaper a month for the same coverage. But it's whole life. Not senior graded. Now, what this is gonna do, you're gonna get paid a little bit of a smaller percentage slightly. But that's okay because you're able to give them the same exact coverage for $30 less.
But I thought you couldn't offer them whole life if they were seniors.
Right, but you're gonna go in there and still offer them at the 34,999. In some instances, if they're 60, just at the age of 60, you're actually able to offer them a little bit more whole life. If they're like 60 years and 6 months, you're still able to kind of give them a little bit more coverage than just senior graded. There's like how many states is it, Lindsay? Do you know?
For that offer whole life for seniors not senior graded.
Yeah, if they're before 60 and 6 months.
Oh,
I don't even
like
know if there's a
60 and a
list.
half.
Yeah, I was able to do it, I want to say twice before.
I've done it twice before in 2 different states. I didn't know that there was states that you could not do it in because EAP let you do it both times. But I can ask Jolene.
So is that just for if they're 60 though? You can't do that if they're 61 or
No,
60.
you can give them as much whole life as you can. Like, look, I'll pull up app right now and show you guys a scenario. You can give a senior 50K, 100K. It's just going to be a lot more expensive. Let me see here.
I just didn't think we were allowed to offer them regular whole life and not senior graded in most states.
Like I said, I'm not positive what states it is, guys, because there were some states that I was able to do it in, some states that I wasn't. Maybe if HP Pro allows you to, you could. I hope it's just not a glitch in HP Pro where it allows you to do it all the time. Like I said, it's a rare scenario. It's a very rare scenario. But it is possible because if we kept it like senior graded, right? Like I said, it's 208 over here, but let's say I take it down to 30K. Now over here it's gonna be 180, where two is I can give them that whole life. And it'll be like 179 for 35K. So over here I typed in that they're in Michigan. Let's see here. I'm just pulling EAP up. We have Samantha.
'Cause I know when we were in training, like you can change it and they would tell you to do that for like the higher policy for like the enhanced one, just to kind of scare them off. And you could put in like 100 grand, but you can't actually offer that to them, my understanding, in most states.
Yeah, no, there's a couple of states that you can. It's
And
gonna be
there's a few
there.
that you can't offer them senior graded, you have to offer them whole life, I feel like.
Yeah, it's gonna be rare. You guys may never encounter it just because it's a rare scenario. So 1964 would make her 60. And then I have this highlighted in Michigan, life single. Okay. So here I'll pull up EAP and you guys can kind of see it. Let me stop share. Share screen. We're gonna go screen. Sure. Okay. Samantha. Next. Sometimes EAP, like I've seen HP Pro a lot of times, allow us to give A71.
But it,
And then when you get to EAP, you can't. That one sucks really, really, really bad. I hate those ones the most. Because then you have to tell them, hey, you can't get the A71. You subtract that amount. I mean, the application will tell you over here, but yeah, it's tough. Let's see here. Michigan, choose 5A, 155. Email, not tobacco user. Okay, so here we go. $1 million question here. Yeah, see in this, okay, so here's a perfect scenario where EAP allows you to do it for this person at the age of 60, or HP Pro allows you to do it, but EAP doesn't. So these situations are going to be like unique. if I were you guys in the beginning, till you guys truly know how to like flip it, because if you guys truly offer them the 35K in EAP for the 179, or in HP Pro for the 179, then you guys get to EAP and 35K is just not a thing. And it's actually 199. Sometimes you can have EAP open and just type in the scenario. It's gonna be rare. Maybe for you guys in the beginning, or until I find out actually what states. Lindsay, you don't know what states it is, right?
I do not.
Yeah, neither. Sucks. I would probably not recommend it. It's gonna be rare where you guys have a single senior that's 60 that you guys can do that to. So in this scenario, HP Pro has a glitch because it allows you to do it, but over here in EAP, you can't. And
So when they actually merge HP Pro with EAP, hopefully some of these will be disappearing, these nice little glitches.
yeah,
For like
for-
A71 and all.
yeah, for sure, Jennifer, because at that point it should be fully integrated, because
Yeah.
well, to be honest with you, at the same time, everything's gonna transfer over once EAP is integrated in HP Pro.
Yeah.
All that information is gonna transfer over. The only thing that you guys will need to collect is possibly like medications, ask the medical questions, what doctor they visit, bank information,
Beneficiaries. Continue.
beneficiary names, correct? That might even possibly transfer over, who knows?
So Martin, so once they finally merged HP Pro and EAP together, will they fix some of the issues like with HP Pro, like just some of will a lot of bugs be fixed?
I hope so.
They will cause
Yeah.
bugs and they will fix bugs, and it will be
Yeah.
a while until they sort it out. That's my
Yeah.
experience with doing games.
I really hope so, because I wouldn't want to pitch somebody a plan and then get to EAP and it doesn't allow me to give it to them, because now you just got them to agree to this and you got to figure out a way where you're going to tell them, hey, actually, I'm sorry, I can't give you that, but this is what I can give you. It's happened quite a few times before, like in this scenario on EAP. Some states only allow A71 to be offered for seniors that are between the ages of 60 to 64. Once they hit 65, they can't get A71. But guess what? HP Pro is going to give it to every senior, no matter what. It's going to allow you to give it to every senior.
Or it'll show weird. It'll only show certain ones for the ones that don't take it in those states. So like it'll show like quadruple or something, but it won't show like the single and triple. Like it'll only show some of the options, and that's usually an indicator that it's
That's
probably
correct.
not. Yeah, it's
You're
like
100%
weirdly glitchy.
correct on that. I found that out when I was going through and trying to find the ages with the cutoff. It
Yes.
shows it as quintuple or higher, but not the single, double, or triple level. That state
That's
does
what it
not
is.
offer A71 during that age bracket.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you see something weird with the options for A71, then it probably doesn't offer it in that state, or they're too old or whatnot.
Yeah, like over here, guys, if they're seniors and they're 65, right next to A and B, it'll say like in parentheses, just like this, 60 to 64, it'll say it up here. So now they're 65 years old, and in HP Pro, you gave them A71 and you sold them, but you get to EAP, and now EAP doesn't allow you to give it to them. So you're stuck. You have to let them know, hey, guys, unfortunately, your state, and it is a state by state thing. Your state does not allow the hospital benefits or the accidentals. So you would portray it, so instead of this costing you guys $282 a month, it's only going to cost you guys $253 or whatever it's going to be, whatever this number is. So I pitched her. What did I pitch her? Let me see here. I pitched her. Let's see here. Hospital benefits, triple individual. So this was costing her 180, right? 30K. So hold on here. Why is this even showing 199 right now? Oh no, yeah. Let me go to 30K on EAP. Okay. So I pitched her, let's see here. I pitched her 180. Unfortunately, your state does not offer the hospital benefits along with the accidentals. But you are still going to be receiving that 30K guaranteed coverage in whole life, and that is going to build that cash value for you. And instead of it being 180, it's only going to be 170 a month. At that point, they have to be on board. If they really like the hospital benefits and they must have them to make the sale, it's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to give it to them. But you can keep trying and letting them know, You can say at that point, accidental deaths, there are rare occurrences. That $30,000 is guaranteed. You are still gonna be building that cash value. Just no hospital benefits and no accidentals at all. And it's tough because I want to say there's a handful of states. I know Pennsylvania is one of them. 60 to 64. It's a few other East Coast states.
Yeah, in New Jersey.
Yeah. So, but you guys are not gonna find out until you actually do get to EAP, to kind of go over it with them. There's not even a list for that. So, um,
There will be. It's going to be on the updated packet, I hear.
I hope so, Jennifer. They keep on updating it and adding more
No,
pages.
Lindsay and Julie, I know we're working on that. So
Mhm.
I have a little post-it note that has the ones I know jotted down here.
Yep. So that's it for the workshop, guys. I do have a 1:45 meeting that I have to get to. I hope this helped you guys out. I hope this gave you guys a little bit of insight, maybe even with rebuttals, and just kind of like give you guys a little bit more confidence so you guys can sound more professional in the sits and generate more sales. I went over a lot of the rebuttals with you guys that I'm going to have on that sheet. There'll probably be quite a few more. So I really hope this was helpful to you guys. I hope you guys took notes. At the same time, you guys can always ask questions. You guys can ask me those questions, ask your upline. We're here for you guys. You guys all do have my phone number in here, correct? Everybody
Yes.
does? Okay. Yeah, feel free, guys. We're here for you guys. We want to help. We want you guys to generate more sales. We are going to have more of these workshops. Like Helen just requested a workshop on if a client cancels, how can we still try to get them to be on board on that phone call?
That's a great one.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a lot of avenues, at the point at that point, cancellations are going to be, oh, we thought about this and we really can't afford it, or we want to shop around, or we thought about it and it's just, we just don't want it. We don't, we don't need it. Whatever, right? We'll have a workshop on that. If you guys have ideas for workshops on what you guys want to see workshops on, I would strongly recommend dropping the workshop idea in our MGA Heisha hierarchy chat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So any kind of workshop ideas, drop it in there. One of our leaders is gonna put our eyes on it. Lindsay, if you see that, go back to that workshop sheet that you had made us long ago.
Yeah,
And just add it to the ideas of workshops and put down the person's name that requested that workshop.
not a problem. Wait, Helen was the one who requested the
Yep.
cancellation, right?
Yep, absolutely. So
I'll add
write
that
down
one
that
in
one.
right now too.
Yep, and Lindsay doesn't miss a beat. She literally sees every text, every message, every yada yada. We all
I
know
am
that.
not
So,
watching all the channels all the time.
yeah. Lindsay's not gonna miss it. So drop it on there. Lindsay will see it. I'll also see it. I'll just mention Lindsay, hey, jot that workshop idea down on our sheet. And we're gonna try to do these workshops every Monday morning. On Mondays, I used to meet with the whole hierarchy team and just kind of go over a few things. We're probably gonna continue that trend and just kind of make it a workshop now. So every Monday at 11 Eastern is gonna be a workshop. So
Awesome.
Well, thanks for everything you've done, Martin. And this is, though it's a lot of information, it is helpful, and that's why it's recorded, and I can always listen to the recordings again, and go from and like take notes from the recordings. That's
yeah.
why they're up there.
Absolutely. And then, if you guys do want the recording, just reach out to Lindsay. Lindsay will kind of send it to you guys.
Yep, I'll give you access.
However, yep, she's got the recording. And also she has the one from Friday as well, the
I sure
gathering
do.
up proper needs analysis and plan building. So,
Yep.
And then, yeah, watch those. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot me a text or give me a call. If you guys want like a one-on-one 15-minute meeting with me, I don't mind doing that to go over a few things. So yeah, whatever it is, guys. Cool.
Thanks,
All right,
Marty.
Marty, thank you
thanks,
so much.
Marty. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, guys. You're welcome. Trey, I'll get with you at some point today so we can go over the ref presentation, okay?
You.
Yep. All right, guys, go to call session 5, dial and make some money.
Let's
Let's
go.
go.
Go. I'll see you guys later.
What's up, Jimmy? Hey, Kathy, what's up? Yeah, I like that one, right? Yeah. Absolutely, let's do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just throw notes in there if you could. It's helpful to me because sometimes like I get really busy and I might overlook it or be like, oh, where's Kathy? So that's why that section's there. It's just helpful.
Any word about merging up HP Pro and
Nothing.
All right, just keep me posted.
Yep, absolutely will do. Okay.
All right, I'll keep you posted. If I'm able to find someone to get me coded. I'm talking to someone tonight, and then I'm supposed to hear back from the other person on Wednesday if she can do it. So.
Perfect. Good to know. And just so you know, everybody, not only within our hierarchy, but everyone else is also working on making sure that we can hit those codes too. So you're not alone.
Oh, I know. I knew that. No,
well, I know. It's just just keeping you posted on that one as well, because we discussed it in the morning meeting. Not just you specifically, but there's a few people. So we're all working on it across the entire agency.
So if I were to get coded before I got someone, I'm sure you would let me know.
Absolutely, 100%. You would know because you would need to be there because you would have to obviously see the client.
Oh, if they got me coded?
Yeah, so because
So it could be one of the leaders finds in Missouri.
Yep, and you'll be called into the Zoom room to meet the clients.
Right.
And because you have to, officially, legally, you have to see the client yourself if it's going to be under your name.
Absolutely.
Yep, so you'll be the first to know actually if you get coded.
Yeah, well, obviously, we'll want to do this properly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, sounds good. All right, we'll be in touch, okay?
All right, sounds good. Bye, Kathy.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You've reached 816.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message. Call has been forwarded.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person you're trying to reach. Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging.
Hey, who's recording the call session?
Yeah, whoever's doing that, cut it. I don't know why they're